It is my great pleasure tonight to introduce to you Comrade Norma Ingram. Norma, as many of you will already know, is a Wiradjuri woman born in Carra, New South Wales, who has lived most of her life here in Sydney, in inner city Redfern. Norma is well known for her lifelong passion for education and Aboriginal politics. She has been part of the Aboriginal political movement since the foundation for Aboriginal affairs in the 1960s. Norma was the first Aboriginal person to graduate from Harvard University, where she received a master's degree in education. Among her many roles over the years, Norma has been CEO of both the Metropolitan Local and the State New South Wales Aboriginal Land Councils. Currently, Norma is chairperson of the Wyanga Aboriginal Elders Program and the Executive Director of the National Aboriginal College. Please welcome Norma.
Yeradu Marang, you and Jew, Auntie Norma Ingram, Gale Wiradjuri, So, hello, my friends. How are you all this evening? I'm Norma Ingram, but our elders in our communities are respectfully acknowledged as aunt or uncle. So, feel free. Luke calls me Auntie Norma. Thomas calls me Auntie Norma, and that's wonderful. So, it is my role and responsibility this evening to welcome you to country, to Aboriginal country. Where we are now is Gadigal country. So we acknowledge that Gadigal is one of 29 smaller family or clan groups of the Eora Nation, which is bounded by the Hawkesbury River, that's up north, just this side of the Blue Mountains, and the Nepean and the Georges River. I'm actually from the other side of that big mountain range, the Blue Mountains. You keep going out west about 400 kilometres, mid-New South Wales. So that's Wiradjuri, that's my nation. And we're on the Lachlan River. So Aboriginal people recognise and acknowledge ourselves as being either freshwater or saltwater. So I'm freshwater, but I've lived on saltwater around here most of my life. I'm the youngest of 11 children. My parents were fighting for Aboriginal citizens right in 1938 because we weren't acknowledged as Australian citizens until 1967. So before that, we weren't acknowledged in the Australian Constitution, and so there's been a lot of fights. And my father was a shearer and a member of the union, so he always said to us, to his 11 children, and I'm the youngest, he always says you have to stand up for your rights. And particularly as Aboriginal people, where we grew up under what was called the Aboriginal Welfare Act. So we were totally controlled. One of the reasons I was very much, along with Thomas, involved with the Yes campaign. And one of the main reasons why I did that, why I was so much involved, because whilst we were under the control of the state government under what was the Aboriginal Welfare Act, we had no rights whatsoever. We did not have a voice. And so we had to have permission to go on and off that Aboriginal reserve, which was usually controlled by an ex-police officer. And so all of our lives, and the Christians, whatever denomination came up around, went around New South Wales, whatever Christian denomination what they had, they'd grab the children that was there, that wasn't christened, and said, well, you can be Catholic, you can be Anglican, you can be whatever. So we did not have any say in that, folks, and that's all these reasons why we're still in there fighting. We didn't get the yes vote up, but it doesn't stop us from still fighting for our rightful place in this country. So right across the country, we have over 200 different Aboriginal nations or language groups. I'm so proud to say that I belong to the oldest continuous practice culture on the entire planet. We, on our reserves, the old people told us stories, our parents and grandparents told us stories, and indeed that's what Aboriginal culture is all about. It's about storytelling, and we tell those stories in many different ways. We tell that story in our songs, our dances, our stories that we talk about, storylines that goes right across this country. The artwork, you look at the art, the Aboriginal art, although I don't see any here, Luke, what's happened? The Aboriginal art, we know it's Aboriginal, distinctively Aboriginal Australian when we look at that art. We know that. We know the dances. And folks, I've got to say, we're not out of Africa, because I haven't heard any elephant stories or giraffes or hippopotami in our Dreamtime stories. We have kangaroos in our Dreamtime stories. We have emus in our Dreamtime stories to say that we come from here. And we believe in the Western system, they talk about 65,000 years that my people have been on this land. But we say, because that's a Western way of thinking about things, we always say we've been here since the dream time. That's our religion. And we will continue to be here to fight. We have had so many people who have come to this country to make this country their home. But those stories, as I want to continue telling those stories, our people want to continue to tell those stories because we do not want it to die out. We do not want our stories to die. We do not want our history to die out. So I have a big responsibility as an Aboriginal elder in this country. And so when Luke rings up and says, Auntie Norma, yeah, Luke, whatever. I just say yes, because it does give me an opportunity to give a little tiny bit of information. As I said, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. I currently teach at a TAFE college for teaching adults, and I teach Aboriginal studies or Aboriginal culture or whatever. And I love it. I love telling those stories because this is what I was brought up with. Welcome you to Aboriginal land, Gadigal land. And when the tall ships came here from London, England, into this beautiful, beautiful Sydney Harbour, that's all Gadigal country. So when the tall ships came in, we thought they'd go away, but they didn't. They stayed, and a lot more came. So we all have to walk together. And I say to people, okay, don't let it just be the responsibility of Aboriginal people to care for country, to care for our land. We don't own any of this land. The land owns us. That's our philosophy on it all. So we have to continuously protect Mother Earth, and we continuously protect what I say is her children. The animals, the plants, the trees are all the children of Mother Earth. And so what I say to everybody, and I don't know if you get the chance, but when you get out there, because there's a lot of tar and cement out there, take your shoes off, walk in the sand, walk in the beach, walk on the grass, walk on Mother Earth, and just talk to her, because that's what it's all about. It's about protecting you when you're on these ancient lands. It's protecting you, protecting your family, protecting everybody that you come in contact with that's attached to you. So as you walk on these lands, just make sure you talk to Mother Earth and saying, I appreciate you. I'm not going to harm you. I'm here because we know how powerful you are. So I just want to congratulate you for this evening. Enjoy your evening. I see some certificates there. So you have a great evening. I know your battle is a strong battle. And our battle has been going on for over 200 years since the ships came in from England. We're still fighting today, but we do put our hand out to other people, other Australians and other people who come to visit this ancient, ancient land. We do put our hand out to you and we welcome you. Come in. But come in with the right attitude. Come in with a positive heart and a positive mind about who we are and about what this land's all about and what this land can do for you. So just again, I want to acknowledge our elders who have passed away, who I know are watching us, are looking down all the time. Our elders who are here with us today, because if I don't do the right thing, I know people, I may not suffer myself, but I know other people in my family just might suffer. So I'm always aware of that and always aware of what I say and always aware that it's important for us to share who we are and share our culture and share our stories. So enjoy yourself tonight and have a great evening, and welcome everybody. Welcome to Gadigal land. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Norma. That was a beautiful welcome. This evening we acknowledge we are meeting on the unceded lands of the Gadigal people, and we pay our respects to the traditional owners and elders past and present who continue to guide us as we seek to live here together respectfully on your lands. I would now invite anyone, all those people who can stand, to stand in silence please while we play Foho Remalau, which is the independence anthem written by Comrade Francisco Borja da Costa, a Fretilin leader who was murdered on the 7th of December, the day of invasion in 1975. Thank you, everyone. Before we begin the main event, I also would like to acknowledge Jackie Whidden, our Vice President, David Pink, our Secretary, and all the other search committee members who are present here tonight. Many Fretilin comrades and friends living in Sydney are here also, and I want to especially acknowledge our very long-time comrade and very dear friend and outstanding veteran of this struggle, Ana Maria Ferreira. It's so great that you have been able to come here. We are also especially honoured to have Comrade Guillermina Ribeiro from Dili joining us this evening. She here? Grillamina is unexpectedly here, but she is in Sydney visiting family members, and she is a member of Fretilin's National Political Commission, Fretilin's Central Committee, as well as the Executive Committee of OPMT, which is Fretilin's women's organisation that was formed in 1975 by Rosa Mookie, 50 years ago. Where are you? With us too tonight are some members of Sydney's Fretilin Cultural Group who will be performing later this evening, so thank you. It truly is wonderful to see so many friends and comrades here tonight to celebrate with us this 50 years of solidarity with Fretilin. This evening, we not only honour some of our veteran activists, but also begin the work to rebuild together the solidarity links between the younger generations, both here and in Timor. I will now call on Thomas Mayo to speak. Thomas is an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander man born on Larrakia country in Darwin. He is currently the Assistant National Secretary of the Maritime Union of Australia, the MUA. Thomas, of course, is well known to Search members and also to many of you here tonight for his tireless advocacy since 2017 for the Uluru Statement from the Heart, and his work in the Yes campaign in the 2023 referendum on establishing a constitutionally enshrined Indigenous voice to Parliament. As you all know, Thomas is also a prize-winning author of several books. Most recently, his book, Always Was, Always Will Be, The Campaign for Justice and Recognition continues. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb, and thank you. I'm honoured to speak, at this very special occasion celebrating the solidarity with Fretilin. As mentioned, I'm the Assistant National Secretary of the MUA, and one of the first things I did when I became an official of the union in 2010, the first international work that I did was go to the Fretilin Congress in 2011. And, we were much younger looking, Bob, back then. But it was something that was inspirational for me as a young organiser. And it was special to me because of a man that we undoubtedly celebrate as well for his solidarity with Fretilin and the struggle of the East Timorese people was Brian Manning. When I started on the wharf when I was 17 years old, Brian was still working there. He was around 70 years old. And I remember us young fellas wondering why he was still working and, isn't it time he gave a young fella a start sort of thing. But he was a great man. It was a great opportunity for a young future unionist to work alongside him, not just on the job, but when he retired and I soon after became an organiser, I would go to his house in Darwin, just in Stewart Park near the wharves, and I would sit down with him. He was a bit immobile by then, and I'd sit down with him and try to understand how the world came to be what it was, not just on the wharf and in the union movement, but in the international as well. And he was so fond of Fretilin and the East Timorese people. He's a man that did many things, a lot of great work, not just internationally, but something that was close to my heart was his solidarity with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and as Aunty Norma mentioned, the fight for our rights. And he is an idol in that area as well, and particularly for the Gurindji people in the Northern Territory. Brian, I think, like all of us here today, he understood that justice should not be bound by borders and should not be constricted by the construct that is race. And I think that is something that we should remember and reinforce in us on occasions like this. Tonight we should be celebrating solidarity and the struggle of Fretilin and the East Timorese people as we approach darker times. History is important to understand and to learn about, and history tells us that we are heading in a direction with the election of Donald Trump, with the rise of the right globally, including here in Australia, and the possibility of a dictatorship over there and what that means for the world. What it means for minority groups like our friends in East Timor, a small country, what it means for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and then what it means for all of us. As we know, an injustice that we accept is an injustice that we may someday face ourselves, and we're all vulnerable. So celebrating solidarity is so important right now, and I'm proud to be here with you celebrating the long history of solidarity with Fretilin, and thank you, comrades.
Thank you, Thomas. It is now time to introduce Comrade Naldo Ray from Los Palos, Timor-Leste. Naldo is our keynote speaker, and he is well known to many people here tonight as well. He came as the young Fretilin leader to Australia in 1997, escaping from the Indonesian secret police after an extraordinary life of struggle, which he later recounted in his book, which I have got there. Which many of you may know this book, Resistance, A Childhood Fighting for East Timor, published 2008. Unfortunately, it's no longer in print in Australia, but it is available from various libraries, and I'm sure you can possibly find it in some bookshop somewhere, but not at Glee Books. I really recommend, if you wish to understand more deeply about the struggle of Timor-Leste, I do recommend this book to you. Working with Fretilin leaders based in Australia, including Comrade Stanislaw da Silva and Comrade Harold Mucho, Naldo was active in mobilising support from the Australian Solidarity movement, especially in the lead-up to the UN supervised vote in Timor-Leste in September 1999, protesting the violence unleashed by the Indonesian military and its militias before and after that historic vote for independence. While in Australia, Naldo completed a degree in journalism, and then later in 2013 he completed a Master's in International Development Policy at Seoul National University. He returned to live in independent Timor-Leste in the 2000s, working as an independent journalist. Naldo is a member of the Central Committee of Fretilin and is here today to acknowledge our Solidarity veterans at the request of the Fretilin Secretary-General, Comrade Marie Alcatiri. Naldo wishes to begin his keynote with a short film about his life. Thank you.
Hahufunu hotinansia. Tama kadeya, sai kadeya dala sanulo resin lima. Lahakotu naldo ring espiritu luta ba ukun rasigan. Penghira tropas Indonesia invade Ponta Leste, Lauten Los Palos, iha início tina rihun ida atusia hitunulo resinen. Nalo rei sidak iha kibit hodi hasoro soy harto nia liman ain sira. Behadau ona Ilha Timor, husi mau bere oang nia liman. Tamba iha lorong neba, nalo rei se iha inang nia kous. Tempo lau, lorong trokakalan. Nalo nia ota saibot, no senti ona militar Indonesia nia halo cruel hasoro Timor oan sira. Tropas Indonesia tortura jovem, feri no kaduas, inclui Naldo Rei nia aman rasik besalan lae. Tropas Indonesia nia halok ni, sunu Naldo Rei nia spiritu patriotismo, hodilakan hanesan loromatan dadernia, pusi foho pacau ia Ponta Leste. Kina moko ni la iha rasaun atau hakidu. Ni hambrik firme seni hirus matan ba inimigo ni kila tutu. Objetivo atau hadau ni rain ram fakar fati. Ema honaran sintiu ratu mimirakane hatene luta husini inan aman rasi. Banjira ni inan aman ia aldea ira lafai. Halo kontakto ho gerileyu sira iha ailaran. Nalo rei nia aman hetan oho husi tropas Indonesia. Tamba descobre halo kontakto ho gerileyu sira. Hotinang ne benaru. Nalo sevi ona murish ne moru. Penghira ni halo gerilya iha ailaran ho gerileyu selu. Nia uza ai tahang nudar sira nia biti latan ising nia. Ai abu nudar sumasu ho ditulang nia ulu. Nia tutur pofu Timor oang nia mehi ba ukun rasikan. Nalo rei halo clandestina hahu ho idari tinansia. Nia hatutan amang nia luta ho di lori kilat musam bageri leru shira iha ailaran. Penghira servisu sekreto tropas Indonesia sira taumatan helaban nalo nia tipidade clandestina. Nalo decidi husiknya aldea ira la fai badili. Ne inang senti tau no fontebes atau husiknya wan estimado ne. Mai betang fono tenki fai malu. Ia dili nalo resimo responsabilidade husiknya tiung Pedro Nunes. Pode organiza clandestina dili pau kau no Los Palos atau hetang kontakto nebe solido. Hafoi ni Naldo Rei continua ba Indonesia atau bela resiste. Helik an ia inimigo ni liras Croat. Mai benia na fatin Morris. Tambahnya uma luli payahara na fatin kumu meti ni destino. Ia Indonesia Naldo hamoto ko ni maluk aktivista sira. Hodi hakilar na fatin basoy harto atau entrega pofu Timor ni direito o rasikan. Hafoi ni Naldo continua ni viagem ba Australia. Hodi hadokan husi tropas Indonesia sira. Iha na saung kangguru ne nalo la turno no. Nia na fatin husu apoio husi na saung seluk ba Timor Leste ni mehi. Ukun rasik itarain. Nalo rei no Timor ono hotu ni mehi. Consegue realizaduni iha tina rihu rua-rua. Penghira Timor Leste haketak anhusi Indonesia ni provinsia. Bandeira RTL, lokel liras ona iha rai la faik nia husar. Ohin lorong Timor ukun rasikan ona. Iha era independensia dalam mosak narani organisasi internasional no nasional ho dikontribui ba Timor Leste ida puras leo.
Thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. On behalf of the President of Fretilin, Dr. Francisco Guterres Luolo, and Secretary General of Dr. Marie Alcatiri, as well as on behalf of Central Committee of Fretilin, I would like to express my gratitude and extend greetings from Timor-Leste. Thank you for having me here. Thanks also to my auntie, Norma, who I met this afternoon, for welcoming me in this country. And thank you, Comrade Thomas. I might be a little bit older than you, but you are the great future of this country. For your inspiring words, I also want to acknowledge my comrades here from Sydney, Fretilin in Sydney, my great friend, comrade, but also my auntie as well, Ana Maria Pereira. Thanks for coming here to support this event. I also acknowledge the Search Foundation, including the Foundation Vice President, Comrade Jackie, who is here tonight, and other members of Search Committee. I am so proud to be here tonight. We have a long history that we would like to share with you. This evening, we also acknowledge many other Australian comrades who contribute to our struggle in many different ways, including 3 comrades present here tonight who stood with us during our darkest day. Andrew Waterhouse, Tim Rose, and Chris Ray. Today, we also recognize 8 comrades no longer with us, but who play a significant role in solidarity movement and remind Fretilin supporter for many years. Some have family members of their delegates present today to receive this incredible recognition, their contribution to our liberation. I would like to thank you to Comrade Bob and Deb, who organized the event, especially our Felix Sata. Her name is Filomena de Almeida, whom we call Felix Sata because she will pushing us really hard to work and work. So here is Filomena. I also want to thank Peter Murphy, whom I have known for many years, including our late comrade, Brian, with whom I always stay overnight in Darwin before I travel into Timor-Leste and also Sydney. I learned from him a lot, of course, with the rest of our comrades in the church. I am proud to be here and also proud to be a struggle and solidarity you have shown to us. When the world closed their eyes, what was happening in Timor-Leste, you stood up with us, firmly to fight for a free East Timor when Australian government and the Americans were supporting the Indonesia to kill East Timor in 1975 until 1999. I want to acknowledge also to my family in Australia, Katuas Jim, Chris, Mary Ellen, and Margaret, who passed away a few years ago. She died exactly at my date of birth. but I want to recognize the Fretilin in Sydney, whom I consider my comrade, but also part of my family during my asylum seeker in Australia. I have large a family, and I believe that our struggle for independence is a collective effort from everywhere. In the jungle, in the city, and diaspora. Together, we realize our dream of a free East Timor, which I pursue with pride. As Comrade Deborah said, I am a member of the Central Committee of Fretilin, the Revolutionary Front for Independence of Timor-Leste, which last year celebrated the 50th anniversary and is founded in September 1974. As you all know, the short video shows that I grew up with Fretilin. As I was born in 1975, when Indonesian army invaded in December 1975. My family escaped with Fretilin into the mountains and lived in the resistance base, and I have been a Fretilin ever since. So when people ask me, when you become a member of Committee Central of Fretilin, I say that since I was born. Tonight, I have come here to talk about solidarity, which is one of the main reasons I survive. As you all know that I have been in prison for 15 times, capture and torture, but I survived. But I am so proud to be here, talk to you, and share the East Timorese value with you and the history. From every start of my time in the resistance, I know the solidarity that came from the people in the villages and helped me keep us safe. Then in 1995, many our leaders have been cut and killed or in jail. The leader of the clandestine front ordered me to leave the country to make my way to Indonesia, where I spent almost 3 years living under protection of Indonesian Solidarity Organization, SPRIM, while working under direction of Sanana Gusman, who was in the Cipinang prison. After a major joint action with Indonesian Solidarity activists, where we occupied the Dutch embassy for a time, I was captured again, eventually free. I was told by Sanana to obtain a visa and head to Australia. I just tell you a little bit story that my hair was so big. But I was on visa businessman. Can you believe it? When I was sitting next to a girl, where are you going? To Sydney. Because my English was too little. But she was next to me and sleep all night because I feel that my hair was a pillow. But the reality is, people think that I tried to run away from my responsibility, but I was ordered by Sanana to continue my struggle in Australia. Solidarity is very special because when I was in Jakarta, I have no money. but fly with the business class is so hard, and I think exceptional. And it was funded by Search Foundation, and thanks to Search Foundation. Solidarity, special international solidarity, play a vital role, ultimate victory for our independence struggle. It was true in those first dark days when our only link with the outside world was through the Communist Party of Australia. If there was no Communist Party, who was the brave enough to support us? I'm sure, I doubt about it. Because who were involved in the radio clandestine operation in Darwin, it was a true extraordinary growth in international support after Santa Cruz massacre, which I was one of the survivors. But I am so proud because I'm still alive and talk to you in front of you and explain our history and share our dream together with you. Just because our comrade Maxtal, who was served as a media person, feel the massacre in the country and escape and share the footage to international community. That's why the world knows about us. Otherwise, I think the silence still keep on. But I am so thankful to the comrade from Search. We should never forget the demonstration of 100,000 our supporters in Australia. Across the world, when Indonesia violence erupted again after the vote in 1999. 25 years ago, which forced the intervention of UN peacekeeping force to stop the violence. And I was here in 1999, and I lead the march, the demonstration in the city of Sydney, where young girls join us to stop the violence and free for East Timor. And I was so proud because I still yelling the right for self-determination of East Timorese. The importance of solidarity did not stop in 1999 or 2002. It cannot be allowed to stop just because we achieve our legal independence as a nation. As Comrade Thomas says, the latest book, Little, the campaign for justice and recognition continues. It always was, and it always be. Actually, I love this. In our words, we say, we free our land, but we still must free our people. The struggle continues and never stops. That's why we, in our slogan, every day, everywhere, we say, a luta continua, a struggle continues. We free our land, but we still must be free of our people. The struggle continues, never stop. We cannot let our victory slip away and let our imperial neighbors, Indonesia and Australia, take their money and soft power, what they have failed to take with violence. Fretilin is the only party has a program that they fail, that can fully, for a fully independent Timor-Leste, only Fretilin. Believe or not, our history is being written as the Vedas. Because our struggle for freedom is a collective struggle. Not only one person, but everybody, men and women, girls and boys, the elders involved in our struggle, including international solidarity. So this is a common struggle and collective struggle for our self-determination of free East Timor. Why I say that Fretilin is the only party that has a program for fully independent Timor-Leste. Why? Because Fretilin believes that to free the people must in a good health, in education, in rural development, in equal rights for women, and a sustainable development strategy which preserve our beautiful island environment. So we need solidarity movement in Australia, Indonesia to continue. Tonight, we are here to thank the veterans of SEARCH, the comrades who have struggled with us for the last 50 years. But now we need a new generation. I don't know, people say that you are new generation, but maybe I'm in the middle generation. Because my hair started gray. Even Philomena said that, no, you're still young. But actually, I am getting old before my time. So I request and ask your support. Join us in that struggle. Young people who will continue for another 50 years. So by the time I die, actually my generation is already linked with you and we will continue this struggle forever. Last September, I took Bob and De to meet our Secretary General, Comrade Mari El-Khatiri, to discuss this issue. He encouraged us to work to build an alliance between Fretilin Youth Organization and also young activists of Australia. So this is what we are proposing tonight. To honor our veterans, yes, but also to resolve our support a new generation of younger activists to join us. To come to Timor-Leste, to learn about our struggle in this new condition after independence. But also we would like the Australian new generation to learn about our history, and we would like to learn from you as well. Because, Thomas, I know your country just a little bit, but we have shared our dream together. Because your history and Timor history from last more than 500 years under Portuguese colony, Japanese and Indonesia, now we are in free country, independent as a nation that we should be proud of. And your country too. You have to be proud of yourself because you will stand up in your own feet to say no to the imperialists. And I'm proud to know you here. We are unbreakable, but nobody can destroy us. We will continue to share our dream of liberating our people from poverty by creating conditions that we know and that allow the Maubere people to free themselves from tyrants through quality of education, healthcare, and infrastructure. My beloved mother used to say like this, "Hey Putu," but in my traditional name is Ratu Miraka. Go to school and study hard, because no one will manipulate you. So if you are not go to school, Indonesia or any bully will manipulate your mind. So you have to study hard. Make sure that nobody can manipulate you. This is the message that my mother gave to me since I was born. Because she knows that when you fight, you know how to choose the best for your country, but choose for the best for your people as well. So we want to see a bright future for Timor-Leste, and we will keep fight for this. I believe that this is a dream of our founding fathers, especially Fretilin leaders, the heroes who died and sacrificed themselves for the country independence. I am proud to be here, one of their generation, to continue this dream. And I would like to share my dream to you, Thomas, and the rest of the people here. I am hope you will agree to support to achieve this goal, because we need your support. We need to continue share our dream together, to fight for liberate our people, because we have fought for many years against the colonialists. But now, the time for us to liberate our people from the poverty in Timor-Leste. So, the struggle continues and always be, as we say, a luta continua, até a morte. Obrigado. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Very inspiring. I think everyone will be going over there to learn very soon. We're now going to actually commence the awards ceremony of the veterans who are all over there. And to present the certificates, Naldo will be presenting the certificates, but before we do that, Comrade Filomena de Malda, Sandra Mendoza and Miriam de Almeida will come forward, and they will introduce you to each of the recipients by reading a short biography that tells you their story and why Fretilin has decided to award a certificate of recognition this evening. So I'll just quickly introduce you a little bit to Philo and Sandra and Miriam. Philo has been a very good friend, as you've probably gathered already, and comrade to many Australian activists since her arrival in Sydney from Maputo in 1984. Philo returned to Dili in 2000, and she is dedicated to supporting younger generations of militants, and also she is a member of OPMT Executive Committee. Currently, Comrade Filomena is a member of the Fretilin Committee for celebrating the 50th anniversary of Fretilin. She is coordinating a team responsible for the collective and individual memories of comrades, which includes this event. So she's been the mover and shaker in Dili to get us organised here in Sydney and elsewhere. Could I ask you to please hold your applause for people as they receive their awards until the end of the ceremony, as we're trying to stick to the timetable. And we really wish for you to have time to be able to socialise and chat with our guests and each other. So I now call on Sandra and Miriam to read aloud the biographies.
Good evening, everyone. First start with Mr. David Argans, one of the 6 Australian comrades involved in the CPA clandestine East Timor radio link in Darwin from November 1977 to July 1978. His radio contact in Timor was Fretilin Information Officer Alarico Fernandes. They exchanged coded messages in groups of 5 different alphabetical words. The messages were from the external Maputo leadership to the internal leadership. Sometimes there were more public broadcasts, such as casualties and deaths from certain battles or gunfights. Dave continued his solidarity activism in subsequent years and was a member of the Australian delegation to the first Fretilin Cadres Conference in Dili, May 2000.
Ben Bartlett and Pippa Duncan. Ben was active with the Southern Africa Liberation Centre in Sydney in 1970s, which supported liberation movements against Portuguese colonisation, including Portuguese Timor. Ben moved to Alice Springs in 1988, where he met his partner Pippa Duncan. They were active members of the Alice Springs Peace Group, which hosted many Fretilin representatives, facilitated relationships with local Aboriginal organisations, and raised funds to assist Fretilin in its struggle. In early 1991, they visited Dili, where they observed demonstrations that followed killings of activists by the Indonesian forces in response to their attempts to communicate with a visiting US official. Returning to Dili in May 2000 as part of the Australian delegation to the Fretilin Cadres Conference, Ben and Pippa conducted a review of health needs in Timor-Leste for APIDA. During the crisis of 2006, Ben and Pippa organised public information sessions to counter the anti-Fretilin propaganda in the Australian media. They returned to Timor-Leste in 2007 and 2012 as part of the Search Foundation Election Observers Team. In 2015, Comrade Ben received an Order of Timor-Leste. Pippa Duncan died in December 2012, but her infectious optimism is remembered and valued. Ben will receive Pippa's certificate today with his own.
Bob Bolton joined the CPA in 1975 and took part in the CPA's first solidarity action in Sydney in that year. In the 1980s and 1990s, he lived in Alice Springs, where the local peace group and the Friends of East Timor organised many actions in collaboration with Fretilin's Australian representatives. With Alfredo Ferreira in Darwin, the Alice Springs comrades organised a clandestine visit to Dili by 2 solidarity activists in January 1992 to carry in documents needed by Fretilin. In 2000, at the Fretilin Cadres Conference in Dili, he and others committed to continue their support. From 2004 on, he supported the rollout of the National Adult Literacy Campaign initiated by the first Fretilin government. In the crisis of 2006-2007, he was one of the Search comrades who went to Dili to help Fretilin deal with the English language media. He continues to visit regularly, including to participate in election observation teams. In 2015, Comrade Bob was awarded the Medal of the Order of Timor-Leste.
Deborah Durham took part in early solidarity actions in Canberra before moving to Alice Springs in 1984. There she coordinated support for Fretilin and the independence movement through the local peace group and the National Anti-Bases Campaign Coalition. Following the Santa Cruz massacre in 1991, she was instrumental in forming Alice Springs Friends of East Timor, which continued to hold rallies and undertake advocacy work and fundraising up to and beyond the 1999 referendum. Deborah was invited to the first Fretilin Cadres Conference in Dili in May 2000. In 2006, Deborah moved to Dili to live to support Fretilin during the political crisis. In 2007, she was invited to work with the Cubans on the National Literacy Campaign team for several years. Deborah has continued to visit Timor-Leste regularly to attend Fretilin congresses, to work as an election observer, and to maintain her close relationship with Fretilin comrades, especially those active in OPMT. In 2015, Comrade Deborah was awarded the Medal of the Order of Timor-Leste.
Chris Eleanor was first active in the Campaign for Independent East Timor, CIET, in 1976, and following the invasion of Timor-Leste, set up a tent embassy opposite Indonesian embassy in Canberra. In 1977, Chris went underground for the Communist Party of Australia and travelled to the Northern Territory, where he re-established and operated an illegal two-way radio link with Fretilin forces under the call sign Kola Bere. Through Comrade Dennis Frenny, this was the sole connection between Fretilin forces in the mountains and the external leadership of Fretilin in Lisbon, Mozambique, and at the United Nations. A number of party comrades maintained this vital clandestine radio link for 2.5 years. Following the end of the Indonesian occupation, Chris organized the donation and supply of four-wheel drives, vehicles, and motorcycles to assist Fretilin campaigning in remote areas of the country. Chris attended the Fretilin Cadres Conference in 2000 with Brian Manning and the other radio operators, and was an international observer on the search team for the election campaign in 2012. In 2016, Comrade Chris was awarded the Order of Timor-Leste.
Carol Jobson was a member of the Communist Party of Australia, living in Newcastle in September 1975, where she was contacted by Joe Palmada and Dennis Frenny to help the new Fretilin administration in Timor-Leste. Carol, a nurse, said yes, and when she arrived in Dili, she went straight to work at the hospital. The Indonesian invasion from the western border in October 1975 put everyone under pressure. Carol kept working until the flight out of Dili on December 2nd, 1975, when all Australians were evacuated, except for East Timor News Agency journalist Roger East. Carol was a militant feminist who went beyond the call of duty by immediately agreeing to travel to a conflict zone to support the Timorese people's struggle for independence.
Warren Kemlow was a member of the Communist Party of Australia, living in Newcastle in September 1975, when he was also contacted by Joe Palmada and Dennis Frenny to help Fretilin in Dili. Warren, a mechanic, agreed, and when he arrived in Dili, he worked on the maintenance of the trucks and buses to provide public transport. He also had a training role and was keen to pass on his skills. He kept up his work until the last flight out of Dili on December 2nd, 1975. Later in 1990s, Warren engaged Timorese refugees apprentices in Newcastle. In March 2000, he responded to the Search Foundation appeal for support for Fretilin by refurbishing 3 trail bikes and 2 four-wheel drive vehicles, which were then shipped to Delhi for use in the first national tour, leading up to the first Fretilin Cadres Conference on May 2000.
Peter Murphy joined the campaign for independent East Timor in Sydney in January 1976, along with a group of students from Macquarie University. He took part in the occupation of the Indonesian consulate in Sydney on October 16, 1976, and worked on the East Timor News Project and some communications with the Fretilin external delegation until the radio was captured and Nicolau Lobato was killed in combat at the end of 1978. He continued to work with Fretilin members in Australia, including another occupation of the Indonesian consulate in Maribra and protests at the embassy following the 1991 Santa Cruz massacre. Through the UN-supervised referendum in August 1999. Peter coordinated the Search Foundation emergency response to the devastating Indonesian military revenge rampage after the Timorese people voted for independence. In the crisis of 2006, Peter responded to Fretilin's call for media support by leading a team of media workers in Dili, coordinated through the Search Foundation. In turn, this led to a series of search election observer missions to Timor-Leste elections from 2007 to 2022. In 2015, Comrade Peter was awarded the Medal of the Order of Timor-Leste.
Viri Perez was an organizer and executive member of the New South Wales Builders Labourers Federation, BLF, in the 1970s. He was also active in the anti-fascist Portuguese Democratic Union. In July 1974, he interviewed José Ramos Horta in Sydney for the progressive Portuguese language newspaper Voz Lusa. Already active in solidarity with other anti-colonial movements in the Portuguese colonies in Africa, Comrade Viri became a strong supporter of independence for Timor-Leste. In late 1974, he traveled to Portuguese Timor, where he met up with Dennis Freni and took part in meetings with Fretilin leaders, including Horta, Nicolau Lobato, and Mahunu. After their meetings in Dili, Dennis and Viri visited some rural areas where they witnessed the extremely poor living conditions outside the capital. On his return, Viri was active in the campaign for independent East Timor, CIET, and also provided assistance to refugees from Timor-Leste after the invasion.
Today, we also honour the comrades no longer with us, who played a significant role in the Solidarity movement and remained Fretilin supporters. Some have family members of the delegates present today to receive this recognition of their contribution to our liberation. Laurie Aarons, 1917-2005. National Secretary of the CPA from 1966 to 1976. In July 1974, José Ramos Horta first visited Australia to seek assistance for the independence movement in Timor-Leste, and one of the places he went was the Communist Party of Australian office in Sydney's Chinatown area. Laurie and others collected money among themselves and gave it to José, who then spent it buying master's books for his comrades in Dili. Comrade Laurie gave crucial leadership and support to the party members who worked directly with Fretilin in the coming years, especially Dennis Frenny, Brian Manning, and Joe Palmada. The clandestine radio link was the most important of these supports, but Laurie also responded to Fretilin's requests for a ship to take supplies to the resistance fighters, a mission that was blocked by the security services. The CPA's resolute support for Fretilin caused tension inside the party, but Laurie maintained support in the 1970s and beyond during his retirement.
Peter Bryson, 1942-2009, aka Comrade Cosmos, was the sixth and final Australian operator of the clandestine radio established by the CPA to maintain a link between Fretilin in Timor-Leste and Fretilin's external leadership. The radio operated under difficult circumstances in remote and difficult country. Cosmos extended his time in the bush well beyond the usual 6-month assignment to gather and pass on information on developments in the war. Cosmos was a unionist, mechanical fitter, navigator, songwriter, community radio announcer, and an internationalist.
Rob Durbridge, 1946-2014, was committed to the Timorese independence struggle led by Fretilin from 1974. As a member of the Communist Party of Australia National Executive, he took part in all the decisions to assist the independence movement, particularly the creation of the clandestine radio link in 1976. As Federal Secretary of the Australian Education Union, Rob took part in the Education International Delegation to Timor-Leste in February 1999, opening the way for development of education programs and the Teachers' Union and a broader trade union movement. The delegation met with the Central Committee of Fretilin and was joined by around 40 people for workshop discussions. Comrade Rob also met with activists as the UN supervised referendum campaign began. In May 2000, he joined the Search Foundation delegation to the first Fretilin Cadres conference in Dili. Later, Rob led a search delegation to the third Congress of Fretilin held in Dili 2011, at which he presented Fretilin with 2 of the radios used in Australia for the clandestine radio link in 1976.
Dennis Frenny, 1936-1995, was a revolutionary socialist all his adult life, including experiences in South Africa, Algeria, and France. At the time of his intense involvement with the Timorese independence struggle, he was an important figure in the Communist Party of Australia and had worked for several years on the newspaper Tribune. He first focused on Timor-Leste in 1973, taking part in the Australian anti-apartheid movement protests actions against the transfer of Portuguese troops to Dili via Darwin Airport. Then, in October 1974, Dennis flew to Timor for 2 weeks on the invitation of Fretilin's José Ramos Horta, visiting Baucau, Dili, and Maubisi, and meeting with Fretilin leaders Nicolau Lobato, Horta, Mahunu, Sahe, and Alarico Fernandes, who asked for urgent support against the threat of an Indonesian invasion. In response, Dennis helped establish the Campaign for Independent East Timor, CIET, in November 1974. The next year, CIET organized a people's delegation to visit East Timor. composed of trade union, student union, 8 agency representatives and Aboriginal rights activists, along with an ABC radio journalist. Dennis was instrumental in CIET, which organised ongoing protests in Australia and published East Timor News fortnightly from 1977 to 1985. Most importantly, Dennis organised with Joe Palmada and Brian Manning to establish the clandestine radio link in Darwin between Fretilin External Delegation in Mozambique and the resistance in Timor-Leste. Despite raids by ASIO and the federal police to seize the radio transmitters and arrest the operators, Dennis and other comrades maintained his radio link until the death in combat of Nicolau Lobato on December 30, 1978. A new radio link was established in 1985. Dennis was tireless in his continued advocacy for an independent Timor-Leste, taking part in the big protests that followed the Dili massacre of November 1991. In 2015, Comrade Dennis was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor of Timor-Leste in recognition of his contribution to independence struggle.
John Loizu, 1942 to 2013, was a leading Darwin-based journalist who consistently supported the Fretilin-led resistance to Indonesian military occupation and the Fretilin government of independent Timor-Leste. As a newspaper reporter and columnist, John kept Timor's independence struggle in the public eye in a period when Australian authorities strove to conceal it. At considerable risk to his career, John also played a covert role in establishing radio contact between the Timorese resistance and the Australian journalists and politicians, a project that complemented the CPA's underground radio operation. Fretilin General Secretary Mari Alkatiri recognised John's contributions in a tribute read at his funeral in 2013. Alkatiri said, "We in Timor-Leste, who have struggled for justice and peace, know very well and close to our hearts John's love and commitment to both principles. John's efforts in bringing the truth to bear, especially in the days of the political constitutional coup on the Fretilin government in 2006, and therefore will remain greatly appreciated and will not be forgotten by us."
Brian Manning, 1932-2013, was a CPA and Search Foundation member whose long and active life in Darwin is legendary and includes a major role in supporting the Gurindji walk-off in Wave Hill in 1967. In May 1974, he represented his union, the Waterside Workers' Federation, in the first delegation from Australia to visit Portuguese Timor, where he was overwhelmed by the support which Fretilin had from the local population. On his return, he and other comrades in Darwin organised for two-way radios to be taken to Dili to assist Fretilin's communication. After the Indonesian invasion in December 1975, he worked with CPA executive members Joe Palmada and Dennis Frenny to plan and execute the establishment of a clandestine radio link outside Darwin. CDE Brian continued to play an active role through his union and the CPA to maintain support for Fretilin, working closely with Fretilin's Australian representatives. In May 2000, he led the Australian delegation to the first Fretilin Cadres Conference in Dili. For his unwavering support of the independence struggle, Comrade Dennis was awarded the Order of Timor-Leste.
Joe Palmada, 1927-2017, was a member of the Communist Party of Australia National Executive when it decided in December 1975 to boost its support for the independence struggle in Timor-Leste following the Indonesian invasion. Joe worked with Dennis Frenny and Brian Manning to create a clandestine organisation to ensure that Fretilin could maintain communication with its leaders in Mozambique and Portugal. Joe was able to organise vehicles, a great radio technician, successfully test the system from near Sydney, and organise a continuous flow of operators to maintain the radio link, despite disruptions by several ASIO and federal police raids. At one stage, in response to a Fretilin request, the CPA tried unsuccessfully to run weapons and new transmitters to Timor-Leste by sea. Joe was rock solid and fearless and very modest. He operated in the background. After the Indonesian military were forced to withdraw at the end of 1999, Joe wrote, "Our effort was but a tiny part in that magnificent struggle for freedom and independence. Although that struggle has yet to be finalised in a prosperous and free East Timor."
Thank you so much, Sandra and Miriam, for sharing some of those beautiful stories with us. It's now time for Naldo, if you would please, with Philo to present these certificates. Thank you. Comrades, what I'll do is I'll read your name out and then you could step forward and Naldo will present you. Okay, we'll begin with Dave Arkins. Is he here tonight? No, he's an apology, sorry. Comrade Ben Bartlett. Bob Bowden. Comrade Chris Eleanor. Comrade Peter Murphy. Comrade Viri Pereiras. And Comrade Deborah Dernan. Oh, right, okay. Okay, we will now move on to those comrades who are no longer with us, beginning with Comrade Laurie Aarons, and his certificate will be accepted by his son, Comrade Brian Aarons. Comrade Peter Bryson, his certificate will be accepted by Chris Eleanor on behalf of his partner Di O'Mara. Pippa Duncan will be accepted by Ben Bartlett. Comrade Dennis Freeney, his certificate will be accepted by his niece or nephew, if they are here. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Comrade John Louisa, his certificate will be accepted by Chris Ray on behalf of his son Brendan Louisa. Brendan, his son, is an apologies on his way right now, flying in from Brisbane, and had hoped to get here but hasn't made it. Comrade Brian Manning, his certificate will be accepted by Comrade Thomas Mayo. And finally, Comrade Joe Palmada, his certificate will be accepted by Peter Murphy. My apologies. Comrade Rob Durbridge, his certificate will be accepted by Brian Aarons on behalf of Rob's wife, Wendy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Philo, as well. Thank you, Naldo. Congratulations. Viva Fretilin, viva Timor-Leste. I've been sent a message from Dili to a solidarity message. Estanislao de Silva. Estanislao, as most people, in this room would know, was the Australian Fretilin representative, coordinator of Fretilin in the 1990s. But probably more importantly, or just as importantly, he was one of 2 Timorese radio operators in Australia. So he was very close to this group of people over here. Stanislaw, as I understand the story, what went, is that he was working on the radio, and when they were raided by the Commonwealth Police, Federal Police, and he was arrested and deported back to Mozambique. And I believe was told he couldn't come back to Australia. Finally, he did. He returned with his family here in around 1984. So here is what he has to say. Oh, and the other thing I should mention about Stanislaw is that he returned to Timor-Leste in 2000, and he was the Minister for Agriculture, Forests and Fisheries in the first constitutional government. So Stanislaw has said, thank you for sending me the invite to this celebration. I am indisputably a lifelong witness to you and your comrades' unconditional solidarity with Fretilin and the people of Timor-Leste. Your solidarity was undeniably tested during some of the most difficult times of our struggle for independence. In solidarity and friendship always, Stanislaw. Or in Australia, he's better known as Stan. Okay, I would like to invite David Pink on behalf of the Search Foundation. He will propose a salute to Fretilin and the activists. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Deb. Comrades, I'm the Secretary of the Search Foundation, and I'm delivering the salute on behalf of the Search Foundation to the Central Committee of Fretilin. So on the occasion of Fretilin's 50th anniversary, there are a number of things we wish to salute. We salute the courage of your armed struggle for 24 years against a brutal military occupation in which your cadre showed immense bravery and sacrifice, and many lost their lives. We salute the 200,000 Timorese who lost their lives under the Indonesian regime. We salute the work of your party in establishing a young and vibrant democracy in your country. Most of all, we salute the friendship and fraternity you have shown the Communist Party of Australia and now the Search Foundation over the past 50 years. Comrades, as has been celebrated tonight, the Communist Party of Australia was the first and for many years the only Australian political party to give moral and material support to Fretilin's independence campaign inside Timor-Leste. The contribution that we were able to make to your liberation struggle, especially through the CPA radio operation, is the proudest legacy of our organisation and our veterans. I'm pleased to report that at our annual general meeting last year, the Search Foundation carried a resolution to begin this year the work of rebuilding the solidarity links between Search's youth and Fretilin's youth. We are hoping to organise a small group of young socialists to participate in a solidarity exchange in Timor-Leste, hosted by Fretilin and OPMT, that's the Fretilin Women's Organisation. And so on behalf of Search, I'm also pleased to present copies of After the Referendum, which is a publication Search members have presented about the struggle by Thomas Mayo and others for a voice to Parliament. So before I present that, I'd just like to ask everyone here to join me in a standing ovation for our comrades in Fretilin and the people of Timor-Leste. Thank you.
So this brings us really to the conclusion of this formal part of the evening, a traditional Timorese dance. This is a dance of unity, and Sandra will ask people to join in the function room soon. But before that, the Fretilin Cultural Group is going to sing 2 songs, I believe. Thank you. We welcome you.
Thank you, everyone. It's so exciting to be here and celebrating the 50 years of anniversary. I also would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands in which we are here meeting, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of New South Wales. So we're going to sing 2 songs. The first one is Bo Lele Bo. A bit down. Okay, is that a bit better? Sorry, I did the acknowledgement, so you might have not heard me, but I won't repeat again. Bo Lele Bo it's a song in different dialects, including Tetum, and it's basically talking about the pride of Timor-Land and the desire for unity, peace and collaboration of Timorese culture and identity. So we'll start off with that one, and then the very last one is Bandeira Fretilin. So I think some of the Timorese community that are here who know, you can join us as well in singing along. agliu. Rai hotu hotu, rai timor di agliu. Dia bela dia, rai timor di agliu. Dia bela dia, rai timor di agliu. Marilah, 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 boleh, boleh lebo. Marilah, 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 boleh, boleh lebo. Udita for haketa rai timur. Hodikasio for haketa rai timur. Totonebe rai timor Itania. Totonebe rai timor Itania. Marilah, 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 boleh, boleh lebo. Marilah, 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 boleh, boleh lebo. Boleh, boleh lebo.
Viva Timor-Leste! So the very last one is Bandeira Fretilin, which is Fretilin, the flag of Fretilin. Yeah.
Yes.
Bandeira Fretilin, rei Messia, sudada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Dada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Bandeira Fretilin, rei Messia, sudada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Dada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Itania mata dalam Komite Centrale, Itania lima troa maca valente. Itania lima troa maca valente. Bandeira Fretilin, rei Messia, sudada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Dada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Manu ama Fretilin, manu futu fati e lalicatau tara. Manu futu fati, lalicatau tara. Manu futu fati. Bandeira Fretilin, rei Messia, sudada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Dada sai bandeira, dali corrente. Dança oisa, ukurasika e timoroan hamutu ukurasika. Timoroan hamutu ukurasika. Timoroan hamutu ukurasika. respect him.
And now for the last part of the evening, we're going to lead you out into the foyer. So we ask you to follow us in the drumming of our batuki, which is the traditional instrument from Timor. So please feel free to join us. We're going to lead you out into the foyer and have another dance, traditional dance. Thank you.